Welcome to EngloStories. Today, we have a very special story for you. It's one of Aesop's most famous fables, written over 2,500 years ago in ancient Greece. Aesop was a storyteller who created short tales with important lessons that still teach us valuable things today. Our story is called The Dog and His Reflection. And it's about a dog who learns an important lesson about greed and being satisfied with what we have. This short but powerful story has been shared for thousands of years in many different languages and cultures around the world. As you listen, try to think about what lesson Aesop wanted to teach us. What happens when we become too greedy? What is better? Having something real or chasing after something that might not be real at all? Let's find out together as we begin our journey with a clever dog and his unexpected discovery. Now let's begin the story. In a small village surrounded by green hills and flowing streams, there lived a clever dog named Max. Max was a handsome brown dog with soft fur and bright eyes that sparkled with intelligence. He was known throughout the village for his quick thinking and his ability to find food wherever he went. Max belonged to a kind butcher who often gave him treats and leftover bones from his shop. One beautiful sunny morning, the butcher was particularly pleased with Max for guarding the shop all night. As a reward, he gave Max a large, juicy bone, bigger and more delicious than any bone Max had ever received before. The bone was fresh and still had bits of meat clinging to it. Its wonderful smell made Max's mouth water with excitement. Max felt extremely lucky as he carefully took the bone between his teeth. He held it gently but firmly, making sure not to drop his precious prize. With his tail wagging happily, Max left the butcher's shop and headed out of the village. He wanted to find a quiet, peaceful place where he could enjoy his delicious bone without being disturbed by other dogs who might want to share it. Max trotted along the dusty path that led away from the village, his precious bone held securely in his mouth. The sun was high in the sky, warming his back as he walked, and birds sang in the trees around him. Max felt very proud of himself for earning such a wonderful treat. He imagined how delicious the bone would taste and how long he would enjoy chewing it. After walking for some time, Max came to a small stream that cut across his path. The water was clear and cool, flowing gently over smooth, round stones. To continue his journey to find the perfect spot to enjoy his bone, Max needed to cross this stream. He looked at the water carefully. It wasn't very wide or deep, just a short jump would take him to the other side. As Max approached the edge of the stream, he paused to gather his strength for the jump. He looked down at the water and suddenly froze in surprise. There, in the clear water below, he saw another dog staring back at him. This other dog looked exactly like Max, with the same brown fur and bright eyes. But what really caught Max's attention was that the dog in the water also had a bone in its mouth. And this bone seemed even bigger and juicier than his own. How unfair, thought Max. That dog has a bigger bone than mine. Why should he have a better bone than me? I worked hard to earn my bone, and his looks much better. The more Max stared at the dog in the water, the more envious he became. His eyes never left the bone in the other dog's mouth. It seemed to grow larger and more delicious the longer he looked at it. Max completely forgot about his own bone as he became filled with desire for the other dog's prize. A plan began to form in Max's clever mind. I know what I'll do, he thought to himself. I'll jump into the water quickly and snatch that bone away from the other dog before he realizes what's happening. Then I'll have two bones, my bone and his even bigger one. I'll be the luckiest dog in the village with such a feast. Without wasting another moment, Max made his decision. His eyes narrowed with determination as he focused on the bone in the other dog's mouth. He tensed his muscles, ready to pounce. Then, with a fierce growl, Max opened his mouth wide to grab the other bone and jump straight toward the dog in the water. But the moment Max opened his mouth, his own precious bone fell from his teeth. It dropped with a splash into the stream below. At the exact same instant, something very strange happened. The other dog and the other bone completely disappeared. The water's surface rippled and distorted, and when it settled again, Max could no longer see the other dog. Confused and surprised, Max landed in the cool water with a splash. He looked around frantically, spinning in circles on the shallow stream. Where had the other dog gone? And where was the magnificent bone he had seen? Most importantly, where was his own bone that the butcher had given him? As Max stood there in the water, dripping wet and bewildered, understanding slowly dawned on him. There had never been another dog at all. What he had seen was merely his own reflection in the clear water of the stream, a mirror image of himself with his own bone. The bone that had seemed bigger and better was nothing but an illusion, a trick of the light on the water's surface. And now, because of his greed and his desire to take what belonged to another, Max had lost his own wonderful bone. He watched helplessly as the current carried his precious treat away, too quickly for him to catch it. Max stood in the stream, his fur soaking wet and his stomach still empty. He felt foolish and disappointed as he watched his bone float farther and farther away until it disappeared around a bend in the stream. There was no way to get it back now. His wonderful treat was gone forever. With his head hanging low and his tail between his legs, Max slowly climbed out of the water onto the bank of the stream. He shook himself, sending droplets of water flying in all directions, but this did little to improve his mood. He sat down on the grass and stared at the water that had tricked him with his own reflection. As Max sat there feeling sorry for himself, he began to think about what had happened. He had been given a perfectly good bone, a generous gift from his master. It would have been delicious and satisfying enough to make any dog happy. But instead of being grateful for what he had wanted more. He had become greedy, trying to take something that wasn't even real. Max realized that his desire for more had caused him to lose everything. If only he had been satisfied with his own bone, he would be enjoying it right now instead of sitting wet and hungry on the riverbank. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the landscape, Max finally stood up. He was still hungry, but he had learned a valuable lesson. He turned and began the journey back to the village, walking slowly and thinking deeply about his experience. When Max returned to the butcher's shop, his master noticed his wet fur and sad expression. Feeling sorry for the dog, the butcher gave him a small bone. Not as impressive as the first one, but still a nice treat. This time, Max accepted it gratefully. He carried it carefully to a corner of the shop and enjoyed every bit of it, savoring each bite. From that day forward, Max was always content with what he had. He understood that being greedy could lead to losing even the good things already in his possession. The story of The dog and his reflection teaches us an important lesson about greed and appreciation. When we constantly want more instead of being thankful for what we already have, we risk losing everything. Max learned that what appears to be better might just be an illusion, not real at all. This fable reminds us to be grateful for the things we possess rather than always wanting what others have. It shows us that greed can blind us and lead to poor decisions. The grass is not always greener on the other side, as Max discovered when he saw his own reflection. In our daily lives, we can apply this lesson by appreciating our own gifts, talents, and possessions instead of envying others. Did you enjoy the story of Max and his reflection? If you did, please hit the like button and share this video with friends who are also learning English. What would you have done if you were Max? Let us know in the comments below. Follow EngloStories as we upload a story daily so that you can look forward to our next video. Subscribe now to improve your English while enjoying these timeless tales. Until next time, keep learning and growing with EngloStories.